Hey, what's up, folks? How's it going? This is Avijit here, and welcome to DevOps Challenge Hub. So let's start with today's interview question, and let me share my screen. So today the interview question is on Fargate, AWS Fargate. The question is, what is AWS Fargate and what problem does it solve? So before going deep into this AWS Fargate, just we'll have a quick demo. We'll see what Fargate is, and then we'll go through the interview questions. So AWS Fargate is serverless compute engine. So we have EC2, we have Lambda, that is also serverless, but this is a compute engine. There are something like a Lambda, you can run small code, but if you want to run some complex application, you have to Dockerize it and you want to run it so that you can run in AWS Fargate. Okay. So let's have a look at some demo. So demo first, there are a couple of steps in the demo. So what we are going to do, we are going to deploy an engineer's Docker app on AWS Fargate. So what we are going to do, we are going to create Docker image, push it to ECR, Elastic Container Registry. It's like a Docker app on AWS. Then we are going to create a cluster. We are going to create a task definition, like what Docker image to run. Then we are going to run the task. Okay. So they are the steps we are going to follow. Create Docker image, push the image. We have to create the repo before that in ECR, and then push the image to ECR. Create cluster, create task definition, then run the task. Okay. So create a Docker image and push that thing. So first, let me show the Docker file. This is a very simple Docker file. Just I have taken this Nginx image, but you can have like some hello world kind of Docker file, and then you can create the image. Okay. So what we are going to do is Docker build, Docker build minus t forget demo. So it is going to create the image, right? So create a folder, then add this from Nginx in the Docker file. You can add some more items in the Docker file, and this is just a simple demo. That's why I didn't keep much items here. Okay. And next step is uh, build the image. Okay. By Docker build the image. Then create ECR repo. So AWS ECR create repo. Repo name is this. So you can create repo from the UI. There is a create repo. I am on this AWS ECR, AWS Elastic Container Registry. So you can search for ECR or ECS from here and go to ECR, Elastic Container Registry, fully managed Docker Container Registry, share and deploy container software. So I've created from command line, but it can be created from UI also. After that, what? After that, uh, repo is created, tag the Docker image to point to the ECR. So tag the Docker image. For that, you need the account ID and region. So Docker tag Fargate demo latest tagging to this. Right? So this is the path of that URL Fargate demo latest. I'm from doing from command line. Otherwise, you can take this. Right? This is the one. You can already ID is the account ID. This Fargate demo. So basically, it is this one. Right? You can copy paste that also. So once you tag that, log into ECR and push the image. So AWS ECR get login password Docker login. You log into this ECR, then push the image. Okay. So after you push the image, you create the cluster, create ECS cluster where you'll be running. This ECS cluster will be running this Fargate. Then define the task. In the task definition, you say that you're going to use a Fargate, not the EC2 one. You're not going to launch EC2 instance. ECS, all the containers you will be running on Fargate. Serverless computing. Then you mention CPU and memory. And then you mention execution role here. What is the execution role? You need to have some permission to execute it. Then you mention the image ID. This is the image. So account ID region. Basically, this is the one. Account ID and region is US is 2. This is the full path of the image. So this is the image you are going to use. And then you need to mention port where this when the Docker running or what port it's listening at 80. Basically, it's a HTTP server. Okay. And then register the task definition. So that's the task file, and then you register the task definition. So AWS ECS register task definition. CLI input is this JSON file. So you have to register the task definition. Create repo. Then you are logging into the ACR. Then you are creating the cluster, then created the task definition, then registering the task definition, and registering the task definition, and then what you're going to do is create security group and run the task. So security group, you have to open the port 80. So you have to create a security group and allow port 80, open the port 80, and then run the Fargate task. And once you run it, you go to the IP address. The IP address, you can get the public IP from the task ARN. You get the task ARN, task ID, ARN unit number locator. And then from the network interface, you get the IP address. Okay. You get the IP address and open it in the browser. So http:// public IP. So if I run this, I should be able to get the IP address, and that IP I can use, and I should be able to see that Nginx welcome page. So there are 5 steps. Create the Docker file, build a Docker image, create ECR repo, push your image in the repo, create cluster, create task definition, mention what image you are using, whatever the image you created, you mention that, port number, etc. Whatever memory CPU you need, and you are going to run it on Fargate, mention that Fargate, and then basically open the security port, etc., and then run the task. So this is the IP. And if I go, you will be able to see that it's running Nginx. Welcome to Nginx. Okay. Now let's go to the question. So what is AWS Fargate and what problem does it solve? So it's a serverless compute engine for containers that works with Amazon ECS and Amazon EKS. So it works with both Amazon Elastic Container Service and Amazon Elastic Kubernetes Service. It eliminates the need to provision, configure, and manage EC2 instances. So you don't need EC2 instance. And no server management. So that advantage problem itself, no server management. You don't need to manage the server. Right sizing, you allocate only required CPU memory, no need to over provision. And scalable and secure. Each task pod runs in its own kernel isolated environment, improving security. So you don't need to manage server, but otherwise you have to run that EC2. And it's a pay per usage. When you are running that container, only that time you pay. But if you are deploying EC2, EC2 will be running all 24 hours and you have to pay for that. If your load is less, maybe 2 hours per day. So you don't need to keep running on EC2 instance all day. Right? You can, on demand, you can launch it. So no server management, right sizing, whatever CPU memory you need, you can allocate that, and scalability and security. How does Fargate pricing work compared to EC2 instances? What kind of workload you will go for Fargate? That will be the follow-up question. What is the pricing? And what kind of workload you will go for Fargate? Why not EC2? When you will go for EC2? When will you go for Fargate? So Fargate charges per second based on CPU memory and runtime duration of your task or pods. So how long you are running that task? Based on that, it will be charging per second. If you run your task for 30 seconds, the task definition, you have defined the task. The task, if it runs for only 1 minute, you will be charged for 1 minute. But EC2 generally like pay for full instance time. So you will keep it running because you don't know when the user will be coming, when the user will be hitting your server. So you will keep it running. But here, when user hits, some task gets executed and you pay for that. Management, it's fully managed. You don't need to do anything, forget. EC2, it's self-managed. You have to manage, upgrade, patch, etc. Cost efficiency, it's great for short, busty workload. EC2, better for long-running app. Right? It's like rain by versus by decision kind of like EC2. Like for example, if you go to office every day, maybe you will buy vehicle because that may come out cheaper for you. But if you go once in a month, go to office once in a month, you don't need to buy vehicle. You may go you may take rent a car for 1 day. 1 day is fine, right? So great for short, busty workload, go for Fargate. But like if you know that there is a constant workload every day, like there are hundreds of users from morning to evening, they are logging into a server, and it's more or less constant. It's not like there is a spike. Spike you can manage with this Fargate, but there is no spike like 100 users throughout the day, maybe 100, 105, 110, 90, 95. Right? So throughout the day, it's more or less like a constant. So that part of load you can manage with EC2. And so use it if you have a constant workload, reserved instances, need for custom API. If you need for 24 or like maybe 1 year or something, you reserve it instances, it will be cheaper. And you need custom AMIs, custom environment you need, you will go for this. You will have more control. And Fargate if you want simplicity, you go for Fargate. And definitely like short workload. So that's the answer to the follow-up question. What kind of workload you will go for Fargate? When will you go for Fargate? When will you go for EC2? This is a common interview question. Now, next question is, yeah, auto scaling without infra is also another thing. You don't need to tell multiple things, only 2, 3 points you can tell, that's sufficient. What are the supported CPU and memory configuration in Fargate? It's not that popular question, but I kept it, but it keeps on changing because uh, Amazon changes configurations and a lot of updates they do. So you have to refer to the documentation and say CPU memory. But generally, like 1 to 16 CPU and memory, like a kind of 0.5 to 120 GB. But thumb rule is 2 times CPU or 2 maximum 4 times CPU. So if you have if you are using 1 CPU, so go for memory 2 GB or maximum 4 GB. So for 1 CPU, you won't go for 100 GB or 10 GB or 20 GB. So max 4 times and at least 2 times. So this is the way. Here you can see 2 times 4 times, 2 times 4 times, 1, 2, 4, 4, 2 times 8, 4 times 16. So you go to documentation and you will get the full range. Now, can you tell the differences between Fargate for ECS and Fargate for EKS? What is the difference between ECS and EKS Fargate? So Fargate for ECS is for Amazon ECS. Orchestration is Amazon ECS. So Elastic Container Service, that cluster is going to do the orchestration. Amazon ECS is going to do the orchestration, but here Amazon EKS is going to do the orchestration. Abstraction, this is AWS native abstraction. This is completely AWS native. Amazon ECS, Fargate, these are completely AWS stuff. But EKS is Kubernetes specific, Kubernetes native abstraction. Task type, here we have ECS task. EKS we have pod, Kubernetes pods. ECS is simpler. Kubernetes thing, EKS is a little bit complex. K-based apps are there. You have to understand YAML specs and network setup, etc. So there are a lot of things are there. So mainly like it's a ECS orchestration, that is the EKS one. This is fully Amazon native, that is the Kubernetes abstraction. Here it's a ECS stuff, that's a Kubernetes pod. So that's the main difference between ECS and EKS. Next question is, what are the limitations of AWS Fargate? What are the limitations? The one first limitation, there are many limitations. Like if you can tell 2 or 3 main, that's fine. Like for example, you can say no privilege container. So if you want to run Docker inside a Docker, it's not possible. So you are running a Docker image and on that Fargate. And there you want to do some build or something. Let's say you're running a Docker image of node environment or something. And under that, you want to do some Docker build of some image. So that's not possible because it doesn't allow that privilege thing. Docker inside Docker, that privilege thing is not allowed. No EFS support in EKS Fargate. So if you need EFS support, that's not possible. Slower cold start because it is already running. So if user hit that web server, it is already there. But when you are hitting that, it is going to do the cold start. It has to start that container has to that Docker image has to be started. Docker has to be executed on some machine because it's a serverless, right? So there will be some delay. And immediately that user finishes job, again someone comes, then maybe it's already running. It may handle, but initial there will be cold starting. Limited control over networking. You cannot do customized networking. Can be more expensive if they are like a high throughput apps or throughout whole day you are using, it will be more expensive. It's like your one day you are going to office, or then you will go for Ola Uber. But every day you are going to office, morning, evening, you are not going to go for Ola Uber. You are going to buy your own vehicle. That will work out better. Similarly, if you are going to use it heavily, you will maybe go for constant workload, you will go for EC2. But burst or short workload, once in a while you are doing that, you would go for Fargate. No GPU support if you want to do some video transcoding and the graphical processing with GPU, ML thing, and GPU you need. So that's not possible. There are no demonstrate support in EKS Fargate and limited login method. So you can mainly say no privilege containers, no GPU support, no AFS support for EKS. Yeah, this can be, and it can be expensive if it's a high throughput apps. So that's it for the questions, and then now we'll go to the quiz section. Let's go to the quiz section. Whatever we have discussed, we have quiz based on that. So try to answer. You can pause the video and try to answer. Okay. You can pause it. What is AWS Fargate primarily used for? Hosting serverless layer, running containers without managing servers. Running containers, managing without managing servers. So answer is B. Which of the following is not a benefit of AWS Fargate? Which one is not a benefit of AWS Fargate? Eliminate need of EC2 instance management. Enable over provisioning for performance. Improve security through kernel isolation. Allocate just required CPU memory. Enable over provisioning for performance. So which one? Which one is the answer? C. Improve security. This is not the benefit of Fargate. This is the benefit of Fargate. Eliminates need for CPU instance management. Enables over provisioning for performance. Allocate just required CPU memory. For which type of workload is AWS Fargate most cost efficient? Constant workload, short bursty, yeah, short bursty, unpredictable workload, this is good. Long running batch, not good. High performance computing with custom content, not good. Custom content, it's not possible. Short bursty or predictable workload, it's good. Which of the following is a limitation of AWS Fargate? Can't scale automatically, doesn't support Kubernetes, limited CPU memory configuration option, lacks integration with ECS. Yes, limited CPU memory configuration option. So not that many options are there. So this is the answer. Answer is C, limited CPU memory configuration options. So that's it for today. Hope you like this video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also follow Devops Challenge of LinkedIn page. I post quiz contest daily, and you can participate in that. And you also follow WhatsApp channel. And I'm also planning to organize mock interviews, etc. So you will get a notification in AWS channel and a LinkedIn page. So keep following. And thank you for watching this video. And see you again in the next video.